All right, man, I'm back. I apologize that it's taking so long for me to get this next video up. I had a lot of things going on in this last week. Some necessary, some unnecessary, but you know, that's life. You know what I mean? You gotta handle business, take care of your priorities, get your priorities in order, and handle that accordingly. But here we go. Before we start this off, I just want you to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, or don't, man. It doesn't bother me if you don't. If you do, I respect it, man. I appreciate all the love and support a lot of people have been showing me. You know what I'm saying? But I just want to start this off with tomorrow. It's Friday, the 14th. Tomorrow's the 15th, which is the BJ Penn and Yair Rodriguez card. You know what I'm saying? Here's the thing I like about this card is there's not any like top fighters, you know, popular fighters on this card, but this is a free fight night card that BJ and Yair are both headlining for the main event of the main card. But the thing I do like is that these a lot of the fighters on here are up and coming dudes. You know, some of them have been in the game for a minute, some of them haven't, but they're not that popular, so it's putting them on the map, you know, and it's getting people to pay attention and see people that aren't popular. You know, I like that. But yeah, I'm not going to go through the whole fights. I'm not going to break down each and every fight and pick who I want, you know, because it's kind of tedious. I can see that people don't, want me to go through each and every single fight and make my pick, especially when you don't know or even you've never even seen the person fight before. But there's a few fights that stand out. That I think you should pay attention to. The first one would be Sergio Pettis and John Moraga. Sergio Pettis, of course, is Anthony Pettis' brother. You know what I'm saying? And he's on the come up right now. He's on he's been in the game for at least a few years. I think. You know, he's on a 2-fight win streak. John Moraga's on a 2-fight lose streak. I think. I think Sergio Pettis' last fight was like 197. So it's been some time since he's been in here, but he's on the come up. Here's the thing though, John Moraga's on a 2-fight lose streak. So I mean, this is kind of make or break. Once you get to that 4-fight losing streak, you know, that's where your contract could probably be up and they might just get rid of you. You know what I'm saying? So he knows his back is against the wall. This is a dangerous fight for Sergio Pettis because of that. For just not only for that reason, but that is one reason why it's a dangerous fight, because his back's against the wall. He knows that after this fight, man, it could be up. You know what I mean? So he could possibly win. I think Sergio Pettis might got this though, because I think he's finding himself and finally figuring it out. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that should be a good fight. Also, I just real quick, I don't know who she's fighting, but Nina is fighting, and Nina is Amanda Nunes' girlfriend. You know, she fights in strawweight. I can't remember. I'm sorry, I can't remember who she's fighting, but just pay attention to that, because I remember even after I haven't really even seen Nina. I've seen Nina fight once. I think she lost. I think she's lost 2 fights, but I think she's lost 2 fights, but I think the last fight she was in, she lost. I think it went to decision. And she's a fighter, man. She doesn't quit. She keeps going. She keeps the pressure. She tries to fight the whole time. You know, she's scrappy, and I like that. So I like fighters like that, you know, there's no quit in them at all. So it should be a good fight, man. I don't know who her opponent is. I apologize. I'm not too familiar with her. I did see the name, read the name. I can't remember, you know what I'm saying? But it should still be a good fight, because I've seen Nina fight. She's a scrapper, you know, and I enjoy that. It makes fights entertaining, you know what I'm saying? But after that, we got Court McGee and Ben Saunders. Now, both of them come from the Ultimate Fighter, not the same season, but they both come from the Ultimate Fighter. Ben Saunders comes from the old Ultimate Fighter. I think like it was probably a few seasons in, maybe more than that. I think it was I remember watching it too back in the day. It was the coach, Matt Serra, Matt Hughes were the coach of that season. I don't know what season it was, but I know Ben Saunders was under the coaches of Matt Serra and Matt Hughes. And then Court McGee comes from, I'm not sure what season he comes from, but I know for a fact I remember he comes from the Ultimate Fighter as well. And I think I think Ben Saunders is coming off a win against Jacob Volkman. I don't think he's fought in the UFC for a minute. I think he took some time away out of the UFC, outside of the UFC. I think he had personal stuff going on. I'm not very sure. I heard him speaking about it, and I didn't really, want to get into his personal stuff. But that's just. But he's back. He said he's glad he's back, and he's glad he's fighting somebody like a veteran, like Court McGee. You know, Court McGee's a tough dude. He keeps the pressure coming. He's always coming forward. This is a good fight for both of them. But definitely a good fight for both of them because, they're both veterans. They've both been in the game for a long time. And Court McGee, I think, is coming off a loss. Or no. He's coming off a win. His fight right before that he lost. So he's coming off a win. I think they're both coming off of one fight win streak. They're both coming off a win, off a W, so this should be a good fight. It's kind of like evenly matched between those two because they're both veterans. They're both coming off of one fight. Ben Saunders hasn't fought in the UFC for a minute, but it should be a dope fight. I think it should be a good fight. It's kind of very similar, so I think this fight will end in a knockout. I think so. I think this fight will end in a knockout for sure. And that's that. Another fight I think you should pay attention to is for sure Joe Lauzon and Marcin Held. Joe Lauzon's a banger. He's been active lately, man. He's going. He gets that. I know he gets that veteran pay from Reebok. I know Reebok pays them like $20,000 a fight. Which is very high for. If you're a top dog, you'll get like $50,000, like Conor McGregor or something like that. But for veterans pay, you're gonna get $20,000, which is dope. He's fighting Marcin Held, who's a super nasty jiu-jitsu dude. He's got like leg locks on lock. You know what I'm saying? No pun intended, or pun intended, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, and Joe Lauzon's nasty at jiu-jitsu too. I think he's a black belt as well. And but Joe Lauzon can bang. I was watching some pressers of Joe Lauzon and Marcin Held, both of them. But Joe Lauzon was saying like he wants to keep it on the feet. That's where he feels his advantage. He feels like he should be able to knock Marcin Held out because, it makes sense. He said that he's got a black belt in jiu-jitsu too, and so does Marcin Held, I believe. And he's just saying like if I'm better at stand-up than he is at stand-up, why would I go to his best game point and battle it out in jiu-jitsu, in a grappling match when I can stand up and probably knock him out, and Marcin Held will probably want to take him down, So even though and Joe Lauzon, he said even though he feels like he could beat him in a grappling match, he's like, why would I go to his good point, and give him the advantage to possibly, submit him or something like that, when he could just stand up and bang with him and try to knock him out, and he has the advantage over him in that area, you know what I mean? So I think that would be a dope fight. They both beat Diego Sanchez. Joe Lauzon knocked him out, I think, in the first round real quick. Within the first couple minutes, he knocked Diego Sanchez out, and I think Marcin Held and Diego Sanchez went 3 rounds. I'm pretty sure they went to decision, and I think he won a unanimous decision over Diego Sanchez. But yeah, man, this should be a good fight, man. I'm always excited when Joe Lauzon is fighting because he's always exciting. Whether he loses or wins, they're always exciting, his fights, man. He's been in the game for a long time. He came from the Ultimate Fighter. Actually, that's crazy. He came in from the Ultimate Fighter when BJ Penn and Jens Pulver were coaches. And BJ Penn was BJ Penn was Joe Lauzon's coach, because I remember BJ Penn picked Joe Lauzon because already prior to Joe Lauzon being in the Ultimate Fighter, he knocked out Jens Pulver in a different fighting organization. I can't remember. Well, you know what? Actually, it might have been the UFC. I think he knocked out Jens Pulver in the UFC before he even came to the Ultimate Fighter. So I think he already had experience, before he even came to the Ultimate Fighter. And that was a long time ago, just to give you a clue on how long ago that was. That was the same season Nate Diaz was in the Ultimate Fighter. Nate Diaz was on BJ Penn's, Nate Diaz was on Jens Pulver's team. I remember with like Corey Hill and who else was Manny Gambarian or whatever, was on that same team with Jens Pulver and the yellow team. I remember it was yellow and blue team. And yeah, that's crazy that Joe Lauzon is now fighting on the same card as his old coach, BJ Penn, which leads us to the BJ Penn and Yair Rodriguez fight. You know, this is the first fight ever that BJ is going to be fighting at. He's going to be fighting at featherweight, 145, and he's never fought at featherweight before. He's been a champ at 155. He's been a champ at 170. He's never fought at 145. Back then they didn't have a 145 division. But he says this is where he feels like he wants to, and he said he's not just fighting just to get a win or whatnot. He's fighting because he wants to be a 3-time champion. He wants to get this featherweight belt, which will be a long, tough road for him if he can get past Yair Rodriguez. And Yair Rodriguez is an up-and-coming dude, man. He's an up-and prospect. I always go against Yair for some reason. Even when he fought Touchy Philly, Andre Philly, of course, I thought Andre Philly was going to win that, and I never really seen Yair fight when he knocked out Andre Philly. And then after that, he fought Alex Caceres, and I love Alex Caceres. Bruce Leroy, man, he's a badass. And I was rocking with him for that fight, and then he got kind of dominated all 3 rounds. Or no, that might have been the main event, actually. He got dominated five rounds by, they went all 5 rounds. And that's when I realized, like, oh, man, Yair Rodriguez can move. He's a fighter, man. He's like a ninja warrior out there, man. He throws crazy kicks. He spins. He does a lot of spinning shit. And it's dope. He's a dope fighter. But he's on the come up, man. So this fight right here means a lot. Even though BJ is 38 years old, man, this is the first time BJ's actually trained at a real legit camp. He's over there at Winklejohn and Greg Jackson's. And then he was also training his, I think, striking coach is Jason Perillo. And if you don't know who that is, that's the same person that trains with that helps Michael Bisping with his striking, and who else? Cyborg, Tito Ortiz. Just to give a list of people that he helps train. And so that's good. That's a good look too. But yeah, he's training BJ's hands. He was over there at the Greg Jackson's and John Winklejohn, and I think this should be exciting, and he looked good. I saw him in the little presser thing that he was doing the interview for this Saturday, and he looked good, man. He looks like he's cutting the weight fine. He looked slimmed up. He didn't have his shirt off, but he, under the shirt he looked pretty slim. His face looked slimmed and chiseled up. As you can see, his jaw structure. So he looked good. It looked like he's in shape and headed to do what he's supposed to do. So this is a hard fight because I know what Yair is capable of, but I haven't seen him perform it at a top level. Like, it's really, I don't know, man. And also, there's a lot of things going against BJ. He hasn't fought in like 3 years. His last fight was Frankie Edgar, and he got whooped by Frankie Edgar. Just destroyed by Frankie Edgar. And then I think his last win was over Kenny Florian, maybe. I'm not sure. Maybe Kenny Florian, maybe Diego Sanchez. For a minute there, though, he was on a run. He was defending his belt, the lightweight belt, man. He whooped up Kenny Florian, whooped up Diego Sanchez when Diego Sanchez was on a tear. Dog Diego, but that was like 5-6 years ago. So, we're gonna see. We're gonna. It's exciting. We're gonna see who comes out on top here. It's hard for me to go against BJ because I like BJ so much, man. He's a legend. He's been in the game for a long time, and he's just a beast. He's just a beast. His flexibility is crazy. But Yair has got some good jiu-jitsu as well, man. And I don't think it's anywhere as good as BJ's. Even though he's good, he's scrappy. He's a tiny guy. He spins out of stuff, transitions out, and he's a scrappy dude. But BJ and Yair, man, that should be a great fight. I'm not making a pick on that. I can't go against. You know what? Fuck it. I will make a pick. I'm gonna pick BJ, and I'm only picking BJ just because it's BJ. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm hoping that he comes in and he looks good. 38, man, in MMA years. He's never been knocked out. I don't think BJ's been knocked out. I don't remember him being knocked out. He's taken some punishment for sure, no doubt about it. He's been punched up and whooped up for sure for rounds. But yeah, I'm gonna pick BJ, man. Forget it. Whatever. That's just the way it is, and it should be a great fight, man. It's exciting to see BJ back. He said he wants to make a nice run at this featherweight belt, which will be a long, tough journey for him. But hey, man, he can do it. I believe him. I believe him. He's at the right camp. He's training correctly. All That's like the one thing that people would always say. He doesn't train. Not that he doesn't train correctly. Maybe he just doesn't train with the right people or put as much into training as he should. But he is this time. So that's scary. That's a dangerous BJ right there, I think. So, that's that. We got some MMA news, though, man. I remember a few days ago. You know what? Actually, I'm going to start it with a salute, man, a send-off. And Ryzen, I think that was 2 weekends ago. It was 1 week ago, maybe. And Mirko won the heavyweight tournament, of course. And after that, he retired. He said, "Oh yeah, he knows he's retired before, came back." And he said, "This time it's serious. He knows his health and knows that he's going through stuff." So he said, "This time he's serious." And I was just thinking, like, man, what a great way to go out, man. He went on top. He won the Ryzen heavyweight tournament, man. That's badass. Mirko is still a badass dude, and he ended both of those with knockouts. Of course. And so I just wanted to salute that, man. He's a legend in the game. Mirko's on the top, man. If he's on the Mount, he should be on the Mount Rushmore of MMA for sure. If not, he's like shit. He's still a legend no matter what. Hall of Famer no matter what. But also, I was reading a little thing, a rumor. I don't think it's real. Honestly, I don't think it's real. I think it said Holm might have to pull out of 208 because of some rib injuries or some shit like that. And I don't think it's real because I saw an interview of her. She didn't mention it. She didn't say anything about her being injured, or anything like that at all. So I don't think that's real at all. But here we got some news for 209, man. 209's got some fights. We got the rematch with Woodley and Wonderboy. They're headlining. And then under that, man, we got Habib Nurmagomedov and Tony Ferguson. That's the fight we wanted to see, man. 1 and 2 prospect for the lightweight division. And that fight's going to go down. That's going to be a badass fight, man, 209. Also, on 209, man, we got Mark Hunt and Alistair Overeem, the rematch. Alistair Overeem made some... Mark Hunt made some conditions... He made some conditions saying like, if Alistair tests positive, man, he's suing everyone. And then guess what happened? As soon as that fight got made and put together, I just seen that he's suing now. He's now suing, even with the fight done, he's suing UFC and Brock Lesnar, which is dope, man. I think he did it right. He got the fight first, and then he did the lawsuits. You know what I mean? Because now you can't pull out of the contract. UFC can't, go. It'd be breaching the contract. You know what I mean? And so he got the fight, and he's in the middle of a lawsuit for both. So I just hope that doesn't distract him from his main focus, which is fighting Alistair Overeem. But it's a good thing because if you look at his last fights, he fought. Who did he fight? So he fought Brock Lesnar. Tested positive for steroids. Before that, he fought Frank Mir, tested positive for steroids. He beat Frank Mir. And then before that, he fought Antonio Bigfoot Silva, tested positive for steroids. And then I think he fought Stipe. Of course, Stipe didn't test positive. Stipe is a badass. He's just a G. But yeah, man, I think 3 or 4 out of his last fights, these dudes have tested positive after the fight. So he's upset, man. He's been fighting a bunch of juice heads and people that are trying to cheat or whatnot. Whether they say it was, I didn't know, supplements, blah, 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 this and that. But yeah, he's mad about it. So he's got these lawsuits going and he's got the fight signed up. Everything's ready for 209 against Alistair Overeem. I believe it's 209. If I'm wrong, correct me, please. But I'm pretty sure it's 209, so that should be dope. Also, yeah, I read Rafael Dos Anjos. He moved up. He's moving up to welterweight. He said he hasn't been fighting healthy or happy at lightweight because it's a hard weight cut for him. He's gotten a lot bigger throughout time, a lot more swole, a lot more muscle. So he said he's moving up to welterweight, which I think he'll be a smaller welterweight. But he's still. I think all these fighters should be fighting at their natural weight. If not natural weight, a smaller weight cut, so that, because now you're performing at the best your body can allow you to perform, with your weight. When you're cutting a lot of weight, 20, 25, 30 pounds, man, it's like you're killing yourself, and then the very next day you're supposed to rehydrate within a little over 24 hours, and then come back and fight like the fight of your life. Like, hell no, man. You're gonna be, you're not fighting at your best capability because your body is weak. You know, you put your body through all that, and now you're back. You know, it just doesn't work. So I'm happy for him that he's moving up to welterweight, man. And then I saw Alan Jouban tweeted out, and he said he wants to welcome him. So I'm all for that fight, man, because I don't even think Alan Jouban is a ranked fighter in the welterweight yet, which is crazy to me, at least, because I feel like when he fought Mike Perry, I feel like if Mike Perry would have won that fight, because he's undefeated, he's got the 9-0 or whatever, I think if Mike Perry would have won that, he would be ranked right now. But since Alan Jouban won it, I don't know why they're not ranking him and put him in the top 15. And then now give him this fight with Dos Anjos, and if this fight doesn't get him ranked, I mean, I get it, he's not a ranked welterweight, but still, man, you should get him ranked. He's beating some people, you know. Alan Jouban's a good fighter. He is a good fighter. I like Alan Jouban a lot, you know. I think he's dope. But yeah, man, there's a lot of things going on. What else, man? I saw, Rose Namajunas, one of my favorites in the strawweight division, one of my favorite women fighters. She's a badass little ninja. She's a badass karate. Her and Pat Barry, man, those are two of my favorite peoples. But she's campaigning right now for the Michelle Waterson fight, the karate hottie, which will be badass because I think they're both black belts in karate. I think Rose has got some jiu-jitsu under her. I'm not sure. I can't say she's a black belt. I'm not sure. I think she is. I'm not positive, though. But yeah, they're both black belts in karate. I know that. So that'll be the karate fight between Michelle and Rose. So that'll be dope, man. There's a lot of things going on right now. Floyd and Conor was talking, or not talking, but I saw Floyd on First Take. I saw Floyd on First Take. He's talking about he wants the Conor fight. If he ever comes back to fight for that 50th fight, it'll be versus Conor. And guess why? Because Conor's the biggest star in the world right now, and I literally mean that. I think he's the biggest star on the planet, most popular star on the planet, over Floyd, over everybody, man. So they know that if he goes to boxing, it's the biggest fight for him, biggest payday for both of them. But he said he'll offer Conor $15 million and then some points on the back end of the pay-per-view. You know, so which would leave Conor out with. You know, probably walking out with $50 million from that fight at least, I would think, I would assume. But Conor wants more, you know what I mean? Conor wants more. He posted a picture holding up 2 belts, a little cartoon animation holding up 2 belts, one UFC, one boxing belt standing over Floyd's body. I thought that was kind of dope, taking shots, you know what I mean? So they're marketing, and Floyd wants this fight, you know. I think it will happen in the future. I don't know about this year, but I think it will happen in the future. It'll be a huge blockbuster fight, you know, the biggest probably pay-per-view fight of all time ever. Yeah, man. So there's a lot of things going on right now. I love it. I love this sport, man. It's just super dope. It's amazing sport to me, no matter what kind of style or technique you have, man. You just gotta appreciate it all and pay attention to all of it. Because the more you watch and the more you get excited for every type of style, man, no fight can be boring to you. You know what I'm saying? Every single fight I watch, it's just beautiful, man. It's just dope. It's just exciting. It's entertaining. It's super dope, man. So I suggest everybody tune in tomorrow for these fights. January 15th, BJ Penn, Yair Rodriguez. That's who's headlining. So let me just end that with this. You know what I'm saying? If you like this, man, hit the like button, subscribe button, or don't, man. It doesn't bother me. If you do, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate all the love and support everybody and my partner's been showing, the family been showing. So appreciate everybody. Peace.